Hello, I'm Yinka Bikini and welcome to Out of Frame. This is the podcast where we explore and celebrate the work of below the line roles. That's everyone who works on a production and gets a film or TV series through to distribution. From the casting director to the costume designer. Every week we'll be pulling back the curtain to show you a side of the film industry that you have never seen before. This is Out of Frame. Now, a production can be a pretty chaotic place. Some film and TV sets have hundreds of people coming in and out every single day. And someone needs to ensure things are running smoothly and to plan. That's where Motjuoadi steps in. Boo is a production manager, which means she's in charge of the production office. Whether it's organising equipment, coordinating shooting schedules, or overseeing transport requirements, Boo is almost like the glue that keeps a production together. Boo, welcome to Out of Frame.
Thank you for having me.
I must say, you've come on here with the most epic boots and we're fully visualised now so everyone can see you in all of your glory.
Thank you very much.
So I'm really glad that you're here in the CrewHQ studio with us because it really can't be overestimated how important you are to the whole below the line team.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite an integral role, even if I say so myself, yeah.
Before we get into what all of it involves, I want to learn a little bit more about you first.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, which are going to give us a better understanding of who you are. What's the last film that you watched that really inspired you?
I think Conclave was one that I really enjoyed. And it was because I've worked on quite a few kind of franchise productions. So yeah, big budgets, big cast, big this, that and the other. And I found it inspiring to see something that did so well and was so critically acclaimed, but wasn't necessarily, a mega budget movie.
With Conclave, it's one of those annoying films in a good way that because it's so good and so solid and just so yes.
Yeah.
You often forget about it when you're mentioning stuff.
Yeah.
It sort of slips into classic territory.
Straight away, exactly.
But good choice though.
Oh, thanks.
Bad boy film. What would the title of your biopic be?
Oh, Christ.
What about?
Maybe just Boom.
Okay, so now that we know a little bit more about you, Boo, let's find out more about your role.
Okay.
So I've given our audience a little insight in that mega spiel I gave you earlier.
Yeah.
But how would you best describe the role of production manager?
I'd say it's like a medium-sized cog in the kind of whole workings of a film. And that the cog that I would be then has all the other cogs coming off of it. And it's like a central position. So all the departments would come to me with problems or crews starting and stuff. I'm kind of integral to if we're organising travel. I'm kind of overseeing every aspect of the production, essentially. So it's like one of the central cogs.
When do you join?
I would join kind of what you would call pre-production. So because I would be responsible for finding or helping to find quite a lot of the HODs and other crew members.
What is the first thing that you do as a production manager?
Panic a little bit about what's coming. You'd probably get in place that who you wanted to work in your production office, because that's got to be a solid team. Because they, under the production manager, they're then also part of the central hub where everybody comes and everything comes, all the paperwork is distributed from. So it's good to start with a good, solid production office, I would say.
And essentially, am I right in saying that your role is to make sure the creative members of the below the line team have everything they need to do their job?
Basically, yeah.
So if we take travel as an example.
Yeah.
Let's just say in insurance that you need to get for the cast and crew to get somewhere really remote for filming, which I can imagine happens more than a film fan would assume.
Yeah.
How does that work in practice?
First of all, you will always have a little bit of a panic about where we're going to put everybody, because sometimes you can be a crew of like 250, 300 people. So depending on where you're going, you've got to find somewhere for all of them to stay, which can be painful. South Korea wasn't remote, but it was a really random place to go. It's not somewhere I'd ever thought, oh, that's somewhere I really want to go. And then a job opportunity came up and I was like, well, I'm never going to go there otherwise. And then absolutely fell in love with the place. That was amazing.
What job were you there for?
I was doing location unit on Avengers Age of Ultron.
Fun.
So it was me, a production manager and a location manager. And then it was all local crew who didn't have, in South Korea, they didn't have like the experience of like a big budget franchise feature like that. So it was tricky in that there were something simple like a honey wagon, which is like a toilet that you would have on location.
What a nice word for something quite gross.
Exactly. Did not understand what that was at all. So we had to kind of source stuff like that wasn't necessarily in the country or easily available. Whereas here, there's like 10 different companies you could call and sort that out. So
you can't walk down the road without seeing a Portaloo.
No, exactly, yeah. But although it wasn't remote and it was a really bustling city, it felt remote because we didn't have access to the usual things as easily or readily available as we would normally.
And another thing that you do is you plan shooting schedules.
Yeah, help with the ADs, yeah, to
and
plan
days
those.
And stuff like that. And you've worked across some films that have huge actors and huge casts.
Yeah.
How do you plan a schedule when you have the potential for so many conflicting calendars?
You've just got to kind of block book your cast and know that you've got them for all the days that you need them. Other times you'll have somebody you might only get at the beginning of a schedule. So you need to do all of their stuff up front and then make sure you don't need them later. Unless it's like for additional photography, and then that's a kind of a nightmare in itself, trying to then re-get everybody available. But it's mostly about that. And then just the day-to-day struggles with people having other appointments or interviews or things that they have to go and do. You just need to plan your days very cleverly. I'm
getting a sense of the art of the pivot.
Yes. Yeah. So-and-so's not available tomorrow. We're going to have to bring this scene up.
Go this way.
Yeah.
And somehow you meander. It's a bit like pinball. Like
exactly.
Somehow you get there.
You always get there. You always get there.
You've worked on a number of films that are set in locations all around the world, including the Canary Islands, South Korea. What challenges can that bring specifically, filming on a global scale?
The Canary Islands that you mentioned before, that was on Eternals. So that was another one. I mean, that was a massive key cast because we had the 10 main characters. So moving all of them and all of the stuff that came with them was quite a challenge. And we were filming in some quite remote areas, kind of on the sides of cliffs by the sea and stuff like that. So getting your huge star trailers, that can be quite a nightmare, trying to get those up a little windy road, up a sandy dune. And yeah, that was a huge crew. So I think in the end, we probably had about 500 people that we travelled over there. And it was a massive cast and lots of crowd. So logistically for the ADs, that was quite hard because they had to go over quite early and try and source a lot of local crowd because we couldn't take hundreds of crowd extras with us. And we had some kind of ancient Mesopotamian scenes there with, sheep and animals and stuff. So that was, scheduling wise and logistically wise, that was insane, that job, yeah.
You are also one of the first people who gets to see when a script's been revised, right?
Yes.
So, of course, it's your job to make sure that the new version of a script gets sent to everybody.
Yeah.
In your experience, what's going on when a script is changed during production?
Sometimes it's like a scheduling issue or a budgetary issue. If there's something that's been written that you're like, oh, okay, well, for example, a particular scene might be written and it's an evening scene, But budget-wise, it might be harder to do that because you've got to get night payments that you have to do for all the crew, all the extra lighting that you need to bring in, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes budgetary, you're like, oh, could we make that a day scene? So sometimes that might be the reason for a script change.
One fun fact that I know is in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, the tube scenes, the London Underground scenes, was shot at 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. because it was easier to obtain that than to shut down the tube for a day or a night or whatever it may be. So that makes sense to me. Because of course in the book it's like 8 a.m.
Yeah. Exactly that. That's exactly the point.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. I am. And you've touched on it before, but you are constantly in touch with rental houses as well. What sort of things are being leased for a film when production begins?
Everything. Pretty much everything. There's definitely a preference to hire things if you can, because otherwise at the end of production, you've purchased a load of stuff and then you've either got to sell it or store it. So pretty much everything can be rented. Costumes get rented, wigs get rented, electrical equipment, camera equipment, grip equipment, everything.
Do you remember the cog that you were speaking about earlier?
Yeah.
In my mind's eye, it's getting bigger and bigger.
Being a production manager and working in production is like the central cog of an entire production, because it is where everybody comes if they've got problems generally.
And there's a growing responsibility for production managers to look after the well-being of the cast and crew as well. What productions have you worked on where mental well-being has been especially important?
Coming out of COVID, actually, because I think everybody was already feeling a little bit nervous, I think, of coming back to work. And the first job that I did out of COVID was Bridgerton season 2. So that was a production where we had big scenes with lots of people in ballrooms. And I think everyone was a bit nervous, and people just wanted to feel safe and secure when they were coming to work, that they weren't being exposed to, unnecessary kind of dangers of if we had a COVID outbreak. So I think that was one where I was acutely aware of the crew's mental well-being.
Boo, every week on this podcast, I ask my incredible guests that I speak to bring in something with them, an object that helps to give us a visual description of what their job is like on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
What have you brought with you into the CrewHQ studio?
This is my Post-it spike.
Yes, it is.
Which I have on my desk. Basically, working in production, you are constantly on the phone, constantly having conversations, in meetings, blah, 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 blah. So I kind of religiously write Post-its. Whenever I'm on the phone, I've got like a Post-it, blah, 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 bit of knowledge I've picked up, something I need to do. My computer is generally got Post-its all around it of things that I need to do. And when they're done, pop them on the spike. So it's like a
satisfying pop.
It's a satisfying thing to do. And it's visually for me, it's like, that's done. That's stuff I've done.
So what production is this doner kebab from?
This doner kebab is, funnily enough, this is the second spike from my last job, which is JJ Abrams' job, which I've just finished. So normally it would take a job to fill this up, but I managed to do a spike and a half on that job. It was very busy.
Yeah. That's a lot of kebab meat.
It was very busy. It's quite visually representative of my job, I would say. Lots of stuff all over the place. Looks a bit disorganised, but actually...
I think it looks very satisfying. Can I hold it?
You can.
Yay. And this is sort of just like a list of tasks and things.
It's just random notes on there. I was having a little look through there to make sure there wasn't anything. It's got things
because you knew I was going to snoop.
Yeah,
because you can see me rifling through.
It's got things like there'll be like ones with just people's telephone number, a name of somebody and their telephone number. There'll be dates for when you're expecting people to start work. Mm-hmm. There'll be some in there with monetary figures for things that I've noted down, like rates for people or what we might be paying for a certain object, a bit of kit or something that we're hiring. It's all sorts.
We live in an increasingly online world where most people have everything that they need to work on their laptops. Does having a physical marker like this help you feel more in control?
Yeah, exactly. I think between the Post-its and then I've normally also like got a notebook. Basically, I don't, my Post-its are like on my desk, and then a notebook's when I'm off in meetings and stuff like that. But yeah, generally my desk is covered in Post-its.
This is fabulous.
Things to do. But also, actually, Post-its generally are amazing because we use them a lot for scheduling as well. You'll print off your calendars, and then you'll have like different coloured Post-its for, night shoots, day shoots, on location or not on location, and you just kind of pin them all around with your day. So you've got like a really nice visual display on the wall.
Yeah.
And then when things change, you take it off the calendar and you pop it on the spike.
Exactly. It makes sense. And I love the fact that like you've got some here like, about like access visits or lighting.
Yeah.
And then you've got the Wi-Fi password.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, these are all there's probably, because those were like the last ones I got rid of, there'll be a few of those that were Post-its that I would have had on my computer like the entire show. Mm-hmm. It works for me. It really works for me.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah, it's nice, and it's just really satisfying when you've done something to just spike it.
And
that's done.
You've killed it now.
Yeah, don't have to think about that anymore.
Sorry, it's over.
Yeah, exactly.
End scene, as they say.
Yeah.
Boo, you've worked on some pretty epic productions that I don't want to embarrass you, but this includes Guardians of the Galaxy and The Legend of Tarzan and The Avengers. Can you tell me a bit about some of your favourite moments in your career so far?
One of my earliest, like, amazing experiences that I had, which basically kind of gave me my love of wanting to work in the industry, was I was really lucky, really quite early on in my career, to work on Troy. And I was like I was an assistant coordinator. I was relatively kind of new to the job, and that was an amazing experience because I got to travel to Malta and do lots of shipping and learn all about shipping and travel, and then got to go to Mexico where we were shooting for a while. So that was an epic experience for me. That was like, this is great. This is what I want to do.
You must have had like stars in your eyes.
It was crazy. It was an amazing production to work on so early in my career, because I got to see and do it all quite early on. So yeah, that was one of my fonder memories.
What were your sort of responsibilities as, did you say an assistant coordinator?
I was an assistant coordinator, yes. It was a huge amount of shipping, and the person that was looking after that, Richard Daldry, who is actually now working here at CrewHQ, he was my boss. And we basically did the shipping, and it was, I think we had 3 Russian Antonovs, which it was 12 40-foot containers in each of those. So you can imagine how much stuff that was. Loads of stuff. The entire Trojan horse was broken down into bits, and that was shipped from Malta to Mexico. It was insane. It was insane.
That's mental.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So that was my main responsibility at the beginning of the job, to do that, and then travel over, and then make sure it all, help the Mexican crew and the Mexican contingent that were based over there get everything out of customs so we could start shooting again. I think it was something insane, like 3 days later we started shooting again.
You've got to build the horse.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Build that, get everything out, get the lights up. It was crazy.
You've also worked on the 2 most recent Star Wars films.
Yes.
So The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
What's it like for you when you get to jump back into the same film franchise? Do you pick up where you've left off, or is it brand new?
It's quite brand new, because you've got, particularly with those 2 films, we had like different directors who came with like their different HODs and stuff that they wanted to work with. So that was all quite brand new. But it was it's always quite daunting when you first start on a production, because depending on which studio you're working with, they all have their slightly different ways of doing things. So you just have to, it's getting your head around that studio's particular protocols, all the various CC lists of who, like if you're sending an email about insurance, like who you need to copy in on that or who you need to copy in on this. So it was quite refreshing going straight from one onto another. It's like, oh, I already know who I need to talk to about all of this stuff. So that was quite nice. But it's same but different.
I know what you mean. It's sort of like a lay of the land.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of things that you already know that the studio want and how the studio want things done. So that does free up a bit more time to be able to get involved in, who your new director and crew are.
I can see from your portfolio that you've had some experience working in the sound department as an ADR coordinator. What does that role consist of?
It's like additional dialogue recording or something like that.
It is.
Yeah, so it's when it's when you filmed a scene and maybe the sound was a bit off or, you couldn't hear the dialogue properly. So they re-record it like in a theatre to get, supremo sound.
Happens all the time on Friends, you can hear it.
Yeah. So it was that. It was great. So we had like a little, they'd already organised a space that we were going to be in. So basically all I had to do was coordinate all the actors that were coming in to do their additional, record voiceovers. So I had to speak to all of these people, organise for them to come in, organise lunches and stuff, come in early, just photocopy the script so that they had them ready to go. And it was in this little theatre so that they had like the footage was running on the big screen and then they were just a bit like this really sitting there doing their lines. It was awesome. I've still got on my phone an answer phone message from Christopher Lee, the legend, when I was trying to organise for him to come in. But I got to meet them. Everyone came in. I got to meet everyone. It was lovely.
With you working in such a creative space, do you think that there is an importance of saying yes to opportunities that come knocking on the door?
I haven't really worked across a lot of different departments. That was just a random little thing that I did. But I think working in production, you do get a really good understand, like not a kind of surface level understanding. I would never say that the reason we hire these amazing HODs to do the jobs is because they know what they're doing.
Of course.
So I have like a surface understanding of all of these departments and, the things that are involved and what they might need in certain circumstances and stuff like that. But I think through doing the job, you gain knowledge in all the different departments. I often say to people kind of starting out in the industry, if you're not sure what you want to do, production is a good place to start because you get to see and work with. And, if you're on a job where you have really nice HODs in different departments, they'll let you, come and hang out. And so production is a really good stepping stone for wherever you might want to end up. I feel like with things like CrewHQ, it's not quite the kind of elusive job to try and find or industry to get into. I remember, it felt like when I was first starting out
Back
in my day.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it did feel like it was, I was just in the right place at the right time. Otherwise, I think if I'd known what I wanted to do, I would have had no idea how to get into it. So I think if you get offered anything, like snap it up, because all you've got to do is get your foot in the door. And from there, you can go anywhere within the industry.
Boo.
Yes.
It's no secret that you love film.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. But now it's time to put that film knowledge to the test.
Okay.
Okay, baby. So you've chosen a specialist subject before coming in here today within the world of film and TV.
Yeah.
But now is the time for a bit of film trivia.
Oh, here we go.
It's usually the point where all of my guests get really nervous, but I revel in it.
Yeah.
In the chaos, in the fear,
yeah,
and in the pride that's at stake.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Yeah.
On a true classic coming-of-age cinematic experience.
I know, which I'm really wishing I'd watched again before this.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Absolute classic. Yeah.
Why did you pick this film as your trivia topic?
When I was at school, when I was at high school, one of my favourite teachers was my Spanish teacher, Mr. Robry. And whenever it was like the end of term, it was like the last day of term, blah, 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 he would let us watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off instead of having a lesson.
Oh.
And so I think that was, that was the first film that I really got really familiar with, saw lots of times and just, loved it. It's funny. It's brilliant.
It is really good.
Yeah.
Just so you know, they're all multiple choice.
Okay, good.
3 questions where there is nothing at stake.
But my pride.
But your pride.
Yeah.
You already know this. It's going to be a breeze.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 1.
Okay.
What car do Ferris and Cameron borrow from Cameron's dad?
Yeah.
Is it A, a Porsche 911?
Yeah.
Is it B, a Ferrari 250? Or is it C, a Jaguar E-Type?
A Ferrari.
Ding, 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 ding. Yes. The director, John Hughes, said that he chose the car because red Ferraris often symbolise youthful rebellion and freedom, which is at the heart of the film.
It is.
Yeah. And actually, there were 3 different replicas that were created for the film.
Yeah, I imagine a slightly cheaper one that they let go out the window at the end.
It was just like an old banger covered
painted
in
red.
But there was one for driving shots, one for the stunt jump, and another as a prop for the crash scene that didn't even have an engine.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Do you have an extravagant request that you've had from a director, like for an object or for a prop?
What film was I on? Was it actually Star Wars Episode 9? And there was some talk early on about getting actual footage from space, like getting a camera up in space. But yeah, it sounded like it was not a thing that was ever going to happen in our lifetime.
Question 2.
Okay.
What was the name of the campaign Ferris's school starts for him when they learn about his rare and fake illness? A, Beulah's Angels. B, Save Ferris. Or C, Beulah the Brave.
B, Save Ferris.
She's on a roll.
Yeah.
His classmate initiate the Save Ferris campaign because they think that he's genuinely ill and may need a kidney transplant, which is ridiculous. And it grows into a community crusade to the point where someone paints Save Ferris on the town's water tower.
Yes, I remember that bit, yeah.
The first time I ever went to America and I realised that water towers were real was a moment for me.
Yeah.
Okay, your third and final question.
Okay.
You're doing very well.
Okay, fingers crossed.
Yeah, squeaky bum time though.
Yeah.
All right. What is the Dean of Students, Mr. Rooney's fate during the end credits of the movie? So the fate of the Dean of Students, Mr. Rooney.
Yeah.
A, getting fired. B, having to give Ferris an award at graduation. Or C, riding the school bus with his students.
Riding the school bus with his students.
She's gone and done it. It's a clean sweep. Yeah, so he's suspicious of Ferris skipping school for the 9th time, goes out to catch him once and for all, but ends up getting humiliated.
Absolutely, yeah. Hilarious.
And only the real ones stay for the end credits.
Yeah.
So you've got an extra bonus point that doesn't exist, but I'm going to give it to you anyway.
Yeah. I even remember there's a girl, isn't there, that sits next to him that offers him. She's like, do you want a gummy bear? They're warm. They've been in my pocket or something. Yeah. Oh, I didn't need to watch it again after all.
No, it's in there.
It's in there.
Boo, so much of what you do relies on strong organisational skills. What are some of your top tips that you've learned about staying organised while working on a film production?
Write stuff down, because then you've always got something to revert back to. I'm also a big one for, and I know this annoys some people that I work with, is we'll have a conversation about something and I'll be like, could you just pop that in an email? So that then I can, rather than having to look through my stack of Post-its or something, I can actually just search in an email for the relevant topic. So yeah, having stuff in email is always really good to revert back to. But I would say, yeah, it's about having something you can revert back to about conversations and things that have been said and done or whatever. Just otherwise, your brain is just not big enough to hold all of that.
I guess you're sort of managing so many different things at once and spinning the proverbial plates.
Yeah.
if your eyes are over here, there needs to be some sort of banking of what's happening over there.
Exactly that. That would be my major tip, I would say.
Outside of being organised, which I do think is a very big trait that you have to have in order to be successful in your role, what other skills do you think make a good production manager?
As a production manager, you do quite often find yourself being the person that everyone comes to with problems. And you're constantly solving problems. So I think it's good to have some sort of light-hearted, a good sense of humour, being able to use that to have what can sometimes be, quite awkward conversations with people when you're talking about, money and stuff like that. So I think, being able to keep that kind of as light-hearted and not take it too seriously. I do say quite often that I absolutely hate shouting, because it doesn't achieve anything. Everyone's doing their best, and I think we're all trying to achieve the same end. And, shouting's not helping anyone. So I think it's just maintaining that level of reality about what we're actually doing, and, not having people's lives and mental health suffer for it, because it can be, quite stressful.
For somebody who's looking to get into the film and TV industry, production manager isn't necessarily one of the first job roles that come to mind. Potentially, when they think about a film crew or what that landscape looks like in terms of employment. But in sitting here in, CrewHQ studios, having a chat with you, I can see just how vital your role is. As in, I'm not sure that we would get film and TV without somebody in your role, keeping everything together, the glue, like I mentioned in the intro. What do you love most about what you do?
I love that you get to work with amazing people. Like, even though I've been working in the industry for years and years, I'm still, I still get a bit starstruck, and I'm like, oh God, I get to do a so-and-so film, or, work with so-and-so. So I love that kind of, fanning little aspect of it that's quite cool. Especially, when you catch up with your family and friends, you're like, oh yeah, I'm working on this film. So as bad as it is to admit, I do quite like that aspect. But I just also like the feeling of achievement when you close the door at the end of a job, when you've packed all your stuff off, you've got your boxes and you shut the door, and you have invariably gone through some real highs and some real lows, but you have done what you said you'd do at the beginning, which is you've got it done. I really enjoy that aspect, and the fact that I can just not work for a couple of months after and have some time off. Yeah.
That's a really good answer.
It's a really good...
That was an honest answer.
Well, it is, yeah. It is. I mean, it's a really satisfying thing. And then, months later, you can go to the cinema or watch what you've worked on the TV, and you get to see your name go up. It's really, it's satisfying. It's a really satisfying job.
You can sort of elbow your family member and be like, I spoke to the wrangler of those sheep.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that, yeah. Those sheep wouldn't be there without me.
Without me.
Exactly that. I get really good job satisfaction. Yeah, it's good.
It does sound like one of the jobs that is really satisfying. Like, when it's that scratches an itch, like your job feels like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. When you're before you go on location, the hours that you put in and the panic you have about getting everything and everyone to the right place. But then when everyone's there and the camera's rolling, you're like, I did that. We got everyone here. We got all of this done. So yeah, it's really, you can feel proud of yourself on a regular basis, which is nice.
I know that you're a big fan of what we do here at CrewHQ.
Yeah.
And what we stand for, especially in working with those who are trying to get into below the line roles.
Yeah.
How important do you think diversity and inclusion is within the film industry?
I think it's amazing. Oh God, I hope I don't cry. I remember when I was first in the industry, I never saw anyone that looked like me. There was nobody. And now, everywhere I look, there's people that look like me, which is the most amazing thing for me.
Oh, don't! You're gonna make me go.
I don't know why I don't know why that got me going. Actually,
why does it get you going?
I don't know. I think because it is for so long, it's been a real kind of middle class white man's world, and not being any of those things, it's just really satisfying for me that the industry is changed so much.
Boo, I've loved speaking to you.
I've really enjoyed it. I was really nervous, but I've really enjoyed it.
I hope that I've put you at ease a little
You
bit.
did, yeah. It's been really lovely.
I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to step into CrewHQ and just be with us in the studio today.
Yeah.
Before you go,
Yes.
I have one more request from you.
Okay, tell me.
Do a dance. No, I'm joking, I'm joking. Could you share with us one final piece of wisdom? So what would you say is the number one thing you wish you knew when you were starting out in the film industry?
You don't have to be a martyr to it, I think. When I was young and when I first started, it was, you literally had to give up everything. Like, you were so lucky to be in this industry. Like, you should work all the hours. You should never question anything. I think if I'd known that actually that is not the case, that you have to maintain a life and work balance.
Thank you so much for being here today. And thank you for watching and listening. We'll be back next week with more conversations and more insight. In the meantime, let us know. What do you want to know about the film and TV industry? What job role do you want to hear from next? You can send us a message at We Are CrewHQ on Instagram and TikTok. I'll see you next time.